Narduzzi has Pittsburgh ranked for the first time since 2009. Today, the Panthers turn their focus to the Orange of Syracuse. It's Pitt and the Cuse from the Carrier Dome.
Who got my left? I got your left. Who got my right? I got your right. Who got my right? I got your right. Who got my back? I got your back. Who got my back? I got your back. Who down the road? I'm down the road. Who down the road? I'm down the road. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
You're watching the All-State Saturday kickoff. It's the ACC on ESPN, but we can still hear the echoes of the old Big East. Pittsburgh in its third season in this conference, like Syracuse, but the Panthers may have their sights set on a trip to Charlotte and the ACC championship. Pitt 3-0 in conference, leading the Coastal Division. Good afternoon, Anish Shroff alongside former Texas Longhorn DB Ahmad Brooks. Boy, what a job Pat Narduzzi has done in his first season as Pittsburgh head coach. The only loss to an undefeated Iowa team, and that on a 57-yard field goal. How has he got this program turned around so quickly? You
said it. It's his winning ways, it's his winning attitude, and its approach that I think has really had an influence and an impact on this team. You look at Pitt in close games, particularly games that have been decided by single digits. They're 4-1. Compare that to last season, 1-5. The difference is this team is believing, and that man right there, head coach Pat Narduzzi, has this team believing in what they can accomplish.
Meanwhile, for Syracuse, key game today. You look at the next three, at Florida State, at Louisville, at Clemson. This team is already 3-3. You can start to do the math. This might be the season for the Orange.
Yeah, this is a deciding game for the players and I believe the coaches. I mean, when you look at this roster, it's not littered with players that are playmakers. And so today is a great opportunity for them to come out, have an opportunity to win. And Scott Schaefer said this yesterday, that he believes that this program is headed in the right direction. Today is another step to prove to the people that are here and to the alumni that it's headed in the right direction.
Scott Schaefer and Pat Narduzzi know each other real well. Those two worked on staffs together at NIU and Rhode Island. And these two schools have a shared history as well. They've been playing since 1916 and every year since 1955. And Ahmad, the last two games in this building were both decided by a single point.
Yeah, I mean, they hung in the ball game, and that's what they're hoping to do today. Pitt came through with some fourth quarter opportunities, and that's really was the deciding factor in these games. But Syracuse believes, after seeing what they've done the last 2 years, that they can win this game.
Pittsburgh leads the all-time series. There have been a lot of momentum swings in this series. At one point through the 90s, Syracuse had won 11 in a row, but Pitt has won 9 of the last 10. But as we told you, the last two games in this meeting that were played here in Syracuse are decided by a single point. What's been remarkable about Pitt's early season success, the majority of their games have been on the road. This is the 5th road game for Pittsburgh in 7 games. The good news for the Panthers, only 1 road game after today. That's against Duke. You can see why a lot of folks are looking at Pittsburgh as a team to win the Coastal.
Yeah, they've got that favorable schedule, but what also you know and you learn as a player is you grow close together on the road. And so having those early experiences of having to go on the road, win football games, pull out close games, I think in the long run is really going to help the chemistry of this team.
Ryan Norton to kick off for Syracuse. Tyler Boyd back deep for Pitt. Boyd from the end zone. And he dives across the 20-yard line to the 23-yard line. Leading Pittsburgh on offense, the junior quarterback, the transfer from Tennessee, Nate Peterman. He began the season as the backup to Chad Voitic, but by game 3, the coaches loved what they saw from him, especially with his accuracy. So this is his 5th straight start.
No question, and also the command of the huddle. I mean, he's a great leader, and you talk to this coaching staff, and this is the type of leader they want in the huddle. As you see Peterman coming out now, he's a young man that, as you said, his accuracy continues to improve, and it'll definitely improve when you've got number 23 on your side.
Tyler Boyd lined up in the slot closest to the line of scrimmage. And Peterman goes to Boyd on first down. Tyler Boyd, the school's all-time leader in career receptions. He set the mark last week, and no surprise, he's one of our impact players.
Of course he is. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the nation. I'm not sure if there's anybody better at leaping for the ball when it's in the air. And on the opposite side of that, number 4, Zaire Franklin, the middle linebacker. He's responsible for making sure pressures are where they're supposed to be, and he also will be responsible today for helping stuff the run.
First running play, and there's Franklin with the stop after a 5-yard gain by Quandre Olison. Olison now the lead back for Pittsburgh. The Panthers went into the season with James Conner in the backfield, the reigning ACC Player of the Year. Conner tore his MCL in week 1. Olison in that first game ran for 207 yards, and he's been the lead back since. 3rd and short for Pitt. Olison up the middle. And he's got enough for a first down. Tackle made by Marquise Hodge. John Chaney, the offensive coordinator for Pittsburgh, Jim Chaney, pardon me, told us on 3rd downs they really can't get into passing downs. His biggest concern is number 13 on that Syracuse defensive line, Ron Thompson.
Yeah, he's a man, and especially on passing downs where he can pin his ears back and get after the quarterback.
Well, now Tyler Boyd lined up in the backfield. They'll move him around. And this is Peterman. Keeps it on the read option, takes a hit, gets across the 40-yard line. Stop made by Cordell Hudson after a gain of 8.
Yeah, it's so interesting when you watch film at where Tyler Boyd lines up. That time he was a part of a zone read package that they have. And when you've got a dynamic playmaker like that, find ways to get him involved. And you got to give credit to this offensive staff for finding creative ways to get him the football.
Pay attention to where Boyd is. Right now he's at the top of your screen. And they'll give it to Boyd. He threw one last week. He'll throw it again. Dantes Ford wide open inside the 25. And Ford finally stood up just shy of the 20. It's a 38-yard gain. Tyler Boyd has now completed a pass in 2 straight games.
Yeah, and he's also touched the ball 3 times early on in this ball game. Here it's just the reverse. You see him here. Now Peterman with a great block to seal off the defensive end, but this was a 2-man route. So he had 2 different options. He chose to go with Dantes Ford. But look at this kid throwing the football on the run. And that's an accurate throw for a guy who's a wide receiver. Tyler Boyd doing it all already.
Their coaches told us this kid can sling the ball about 60 yards if he wants to. He's got a great arm. Peterman, the ball comes out. And Pittsburgh able to recover. There was one of our impact players, Zaire Franklin, and he just blew up that play at impact.
Wow, he came straight up the middle, and you'll see on the replay here, number 4, Zaire Franklin in the middle of your field. Just a nice job of timing the blitz. He beats the fullback to the ball, George Aston. But Zaire Franklin making plays early, and now he's really put this Pittsburgh defense in a difficult situation like you talked about behind the sticks.
2nd and 17. Screen pass to Boyd. Boyd gets to the outside, and he's pushed out by the one they call giant, 5'8", Antoine Cordy. We've seen Syracuse struggle defending that play the last couple of weeks, and Pitt likes to go to that play quite often.
Yeah, it's, you know, especially when you pack them in, they've got usually a 7-8 man front, Syracuse does, so it's hard to get out on the edges. You're softer on the outside of the field, and so look for Pitt today to try to take advantage of that once again.
There's the toss. Olison looking for the edge, and Franklin denies him shy of the first down marker. 4th down for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and Antoine Cordy gets a great jump. The safety for Syracuse, a fine job of dissecting the play, running the proper angle, and finishing off the tackle. Syracuse, they just won on this particular drive. You hold Pittsburgh what it looks like to a field goal after they had picked up some good momentum and were charging down the field.
Last week's hero, Chris, blew it on for Pittsburgh. He hit the game winner against Georgia Tech, a school record 56-yarder. This one from 32. And that one sneaks inside the upright. Pittsburgh scores on its opening drive. 9 plays, 64 yards, capped by a Blewett field goal. You're watching the ACC on ESPN with Ahmad Brooks and Ish Shroff here at the Carrier Dome. 5-1 Pittsburgh, 3-3 Syracuse. The Panthers with a crisp Blewett field goal on its opening drive. And Pitt with a 3-0 lead. Pat Narduzzi taking notes. Blewett to kick it off for Pittsburgh. Brisley Esteem, the deep man for the Orange. Esteem will stay put. Syracuse will take it out at the 25-yard line, and we get our first look at the true freshman from Lake Oswego, Oregon, Eric Dungey. He became the starter when Terrell Hunt went down with an Achilles injury in week 1. And for a true freshman, this kid has more than held his own.
I like this kid, and when I watch him on film, he can make all the throws, the short, intermediate, and deep throws, but his poise, I think, is what really stands out to me. Yes, he's a dual-threat quarterback, and I know some people say he takes too many hits, but when you're this type of threat, you're going to get hit because he's going to run the football.
Dungey hands it off to another true freshman. There's Jordan Fredericks. Fredericks across midfield. A burst of speed all the way down to the 20-yard line. A 55-yard run by the freshman.
That's how you start a ball game off. And for the people that are here, they just went right up the gut. You see it here. Zone read, a nice job of that right side of the line. Palmer and Trudeau caving it in and opening up a crease for him to do work.
This is not an experienced Syracuse football team, but the experience is on that offensive line.
Yeah, and they really like this group, and they continue to grow together. They've had to move around some pieces, but you see there, they can certainly clear the way when they need to.
Dungey off play action. That's Irv Phillips in the flat. Phillips with a juke move. Touchdown, Syracuse.
Wow, what an opening drive. 2 plays, 7 points. And this Syracuse bench is jumping up and down, high-fiving, and why wouldn't you after a drive like that to start the ball game against a defense that is pretty stout and sturdy.
An impressive counterpunch by the Orange after Pitt had a field goal on its opening drive. Extra point by Cole Murphy is good. Here's Boyd. Boyd still has it. And he's to the 23, 24-yard line. Let's go back to the TD.
Yeah, I want you to watch Irvin Phillips right here in the slot. Just a one-on-one opportunity. He's got a high safety. Dungey recognized it, gets the ball out quickly. Nice inside move, but look at the block downfield from Ishmael. Being able to handle his cornerback and opens up. Nice move there by Phillips to get open and to get loose. And you know, when you come out and you punch a team like Pitt in the mouth like that goes a long way in establishing your presence.
Nate Peterman ran into his own lineman, dumps it off. He's got Chris James as running back, and James bulldozes ahead to midfield. They'll mark him out just shy of midfield. A gain of 22 there by the Pitt running back.
Jeez, watch the push from number 72, Stephen Clark, to the right side of your screen. He just pushes the guard into the quarterback, and great awareness there by Peterman to be able to handle that and still get the ball off for good yardage. But man, my man 72, Stephen Clark, at 6.
James gets to the 46-yard line, tackled by Franklin. James last year set a career high with 122 yards against Syracuse. James Conner, the All-ACC, All-American running back, hurt his hip in that game, and James really took over, stepped into a big role. He's been the number 2 back for most of the season behind Quandre Olison. Peterman throwing near sideline, and there's Dontez Ford. Ford tiptoes the sideline, and he's out of bounds inside the 30, a pickup of 17.
Yeah, and Peterman that time went opposite of the double team on Boyd. He saw a one-on-one matchup to this side of the field, never even looked in the direction of Boyd because Ford had the matchup he wanted. Nice thrown ball on the outside edge in the right location as Pittsburgh moves the sticks again.
3 catches, 61 yards for Ford, who came into the game with just 8 catches on the season. Off play action. Here's Boyd. And he's out of bounds. Anish Shroff, Ahmad Brooks at the Carrier Dome here in central New York. Pittsburgh looking to go to 4-0 in the ACC. Syracuse looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. Pitt scored a field goal on its opening drive, a 32-yarder from Chris Blewett. The Orange answered with a 2-play, 75-yard touchdown drive. Ford in the slot. Boyd split wide. Aston the fullback in the offset eye. The toss to James. They got out of the initial ambush to get back to the line of scrimmage. And now it becomes a passing 3rd down against the Syracuse defense, which will likely blitz.
Yeah, and you saw there Chris James' lateral movement, his ability to stick a foot in the ground, make one cut, and make people miss. He's a real mix-up. And when you look at Olison, he's more of the heavy, pound the ball type runner as they have a big 3rd down here. Here's the guy that you want to watch down here at the bottom of your screen, number 23, the preseason All-American wide receiver. They like to find him on 3rd down.
Peterman under pressure, and down he goes, sacked by Franklin. Well, you knew the pressure was coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3rd down, and they know you can't let those longer developing routes take place. Just a simple twist up front, but Zaire Franklin just fights through the block. He disengages with the blocker, and on the end of that was a treat, a quarterback sack. Fine job there from the middle linebacker, making a difference early in this ball game.
So after the Peterman sack, it'll be a 50-yard field goal for Blewett, hit from 56 last week. This one is up, and that is no good.
There is no better feeling when you play defense. When you take points off of the board and when you fight so hard throughout a drive, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a position to shave points, and that's exactly what happened there. You saw the defenders for Syracuse coming off the field, a lot of energy, and guess where that transfers? Transfers to the offense. Let's see what they can do with the ball now.
Dungy with the option. And that is Irvin Phillips. And he takes it to the 38-yard line. Irvin Phillips plays that hybrid back role. They call it the express back here at Syracuse. And the way offensive coordinator Tim Lester explained it, he's the 2nd running back, he's the 3rd wide receiver, and he's the 2nd at tight end.
I love that. I love the way he defined that. And I think when you look at this team on film, I mean, he has the capabilities of doing that, and Lester's never had a player that talented and that diverse and with that type of versatility.
Dungy to the air, in trouble, checks down to Fredericks. Fredericks has the 1st down, and he's shoved out of bounds by the freshman Jordan Whitehead, and that takes us to the end of quarter number 1 here in the Salt City. Pittsburgh got a couple of big plays. Tyler Boyd with his arm. The Orange with a few big plays as well. Fredericks and Phillips the touchdown. Start of the 2nd quarter here in Syracuse. Anish Shroff, Ahmad Brooks. Ahmad, your early impressions on Syracuse's true freshman QB.
I think this kid is a program changer. I mean, you watch him here. He avoids 2 sacks, keeps his eyes up, keeps the ball alive, and converts on a crucial second down. Look, you don't coach those plays up. Tim Lester, the offensive coordinator, didn't tell him to do that. That was instinct and his ability to make plays. Eric Dungey, I believe, is the real deal and one of the better freshman quarterbacks in the country.
A lot of youth on this Orange offense. And we see more of it there as the true freshman QB hands off to the true freshman running back. And Fredericks gets to midfield, a gain of 5. Fredericks was the New York State Gatorade Player of the Year last year. This is a Syracuse offense where true freshmen have accounted for 70% of the production. True freshmen.
That's amazing.
And they've had their growing pains. Off play action, Dungey to Phillips. And Phillips finally wrestled down by Pat Amara, who's getting to start for the injured Terrace Webb.
One thing that stands out when you watch Dungey on film is his ability to get the ball out of his hand quickly. That time there, he doesn't spend time on the fake. He realizes that the most important thing is throwing an accurate football. And what Pittsburgh likes to do defensively, they will have their safeties no deeper than 10 yards. So these guys are up and around the box, which really opens up the edges and the outside of the field. We've seen him today take advantage of that in one-on-one opportunities.
This is Phillips being pursued, and Phillips forced out of bounds by Shakir Soto. Good pursuit that time by Pitt.
What a scary sight. When you're Shakir Soto and you're 6'3", 265 pounds, and you're chasing down one of the most athletic players for Syracuse, Irvin Phillips, just goes to show you what type of athleticism they have on the front line. And I can tell you this much, that is not an easy task to do for a big fella, to change direction and track a ball carrier down.
10th play of the drive. Dungey throws near side, and that will be ruled incomplete. It did appear to bounce up in front of Grizzly Esteem. And now 3rd and long for Syracuse.
And Dungey knows he missed one here. He just didn't step into the throw that particular time. And if he does, that would have turned out to be a big play for Syracuse. There was only one man preventing him from taking it to the house, and that was cornerback Lafayette Pitts. So another opportunity here for Dungey to prove himself on 3rd down. These are critical downs. Every quarterback and playmaker on offense is judged by what they do on this down.
Phillips motions. Dungey will run. Quarterback keeper. He's got a 1st down. Got free from Whitehead and able to get inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal for Syracuse.
Give offensive coordinator Tim Lester some credit, okay? This is a designed quarterback run, and he said, I've added more into the package because of Dungey's durability, his toughness, and his will to want to run the football. There, just a fine job on the play fake, quarterback draw, designed. It gets them inside of the 5-yard line with another opportunity to score a touchdown.
Now Dungey is split wide. It's the Wildcat look again. Direct snap to Fredericks. Running left side, cuts it back. And then he's swallowed by that Pittsburgh defense. It was Whitehead on the stop, along with K.K. Mosley-Smith. Offensively, it's been a better showing in 2015 for Syracuse. Last year, you see only 6 passing touchdowns, 17 interceptions to go with those 6 passing TDs a year ago.
And that makes your defense want to play harder when you've got an offense that's putting up those types of numbers.
15th play of the drive. Dungey looking for the end zone, and it was nearly intercepted. It went off the hands of Phillips.
Great anticipation once again on the part of Dungey. I mean, just great rhythm on this throw, and frankly, these are the types of plays, if you're Irvin Phillips and you want to be one of the key playmakers on this team, you've got to haul that football in. I know despite it being high and away, you're in the end zone. All you got to do is catch the football.
Could you see a quarterback run here on 3rd and goal?
It makes sense, especially from this distance.
Dungey rolling out, has a receiver in the flat, but Pittsburgh read it all the way. Nicholas Grigsby, one of the outside linebackers, stopping the Syracuse drive. And the field goal unit will come on for the Orange.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's defense just didn't fall for the play fake. They saw it coming and did a nice job of dissecting the play and then reacting, which is what defense is all about, getting in the right location once you've seen the play and once you know what's coming.
Cole Murphy on for a 23-yard chip shot. And the kick is good. A 17-play drive for the Orange. It ends with a Murphy field goal. Here's Tyler Boyd from the 1. Boyd with a little bit of an opening. The ball comes out. It's in the air. Who's got it?
Woo! Played the boom. Watch this hit here from number 19, Davon Ellison. I mean, this kid brought the wood on special teams, and he doesn't get a lot of defensive reps, but I can tell you this much. When you're making plays like that, defensive coaches are paying attention.
Now Pittsburgh able to hold on, and a big break for the Panthers. Boyd motions. He gets it on that little pop pass. Tyler Boyd with a first down for Pittsburgh. They use him in so many ways, so it's easy to say, well, you know it's going to go to Boyd, focus on him. That's tough when he lines up everywhere.
Yeah, it's not that easy, and it's hard to get a guy to track him because then you tip off the offense, whether you're in man coverage or zone coverage. So what you try to do is just tell everybody, rally to the football, run to the football. But Boyd, one of the more spectacular players in all of college football, showing today why he is so special.
Peterman against the pressure, and he is devoured by Franklin. Peterman will hand it off to James. James to the outside, great speed. James with a big gain for Pittsburgh, finally forced out by Sism. Well, he had 18 before he stepped out.
Yeah, and one thing that this Syracuse team has struggled with is getting off the field. That time there, you see Stephen Clark with an opportunity for a tackle for loss. It turns into big yardage for Pittsburgh and gives them a 3rd and short situation here. Those are the types of plays that if you want to go to the next level, if you want to compete here in the ACC, you've got to make those plays. The coaches put you in prime position to make a play, make your play.
3rd and short now for Pittsburgh. Goal line set. The toss to James.
He stopped him.
And he's going to be short.
Wow.
So 4th down, you've got the ball just inside the 40. And the offense is going to stay out on the field.
Yeah, this is the area in which you go for it. You hear teams talk about from the 50 all the way to about the 40 where you're outside of field goal range, but you have these types of opportunities. Look for a quarterback sneak here.
They'll give it to Allison. And he makes the one cut to get the first down for the Panthers. So a big 4th down conversion by Pitt to move the chains.
You saw Syracuse go for it earlier on a 4th down, which ended up leading the points. But these are why the coaches make the big bucks here, to make these types of decisions. Watch the penetration up front, and just a nice job of blocking there.
Peterman on the run. Under pressure, open receiver. It's the tight end, Holtz. A gain of 14 and a first down for Pitt, and Peterman kept that play alive with his feet.
That was awesome. You know, watching that was very pleasurable to the eye. Let me tell you why. It looks like they're covered up downfield. He's got to square his shoulders up and nearly throw the ball across his body to make that throw. That was a big-time play there by Peterman. And Boyd was wide open downfield, as you see here. But when you're rolling out like that, it's hard to set your feet and be able to get the muscle you need in that throw to get it downfield.
Olesen has the edge. Olesen Inside the 5, marked out at the 2, tackled by Corey Winfield.
Yeah, and he's just a downhill runner. Olsen is. I mean, he's the kind of kid that if you're in the secondary, you're a linebacker, you don't want to hit this kid more than 10 or 12 times a game. And you see when he squares up those shoulders right there, a nice job of avoiding the stiff arm there from Corey Winfield, but he's the type of player that you don't want to see in the open field with either ability to run through you or around you.
First and goal from the 2 for Pitt. Olsen will be stopped short of that goal line. Second and goal.
Looked like he was still fighting for yardage there as he was somewhat on the Syracuse defender and managed to pick up a little more yardage.
The Pittsburgh contingent making the trip all the way to Central New York. 14th play of the drive. Olsen, the deep back. He gets the call, pushes ahead, and in for a Pittsburgh score. Sixth rushing touchdown of the season for the redshirt freshman.
The Niagara Falls, New York native, doing a fine job here. I mean, he's returning home, and that run looked like that was for all the fans that he may have in the stands. That was just a physical run. Put his head down, pads out in front of him to finish off a nice drive there by the Panthers offense.
He was a kid recruited hard by Syracuse. Point after is good. We are tied. Well, if Clemson were to knock off Florida State next month, there might be a chance they could see this Pittsburgh team in Charlotte for the ACC championship.
I agree.
It'll be a touchback. Dungy finds Esteem, who makes the catch at the 32 for a gain of 8. He's out of bounds. Under 2 minutes to go in the half, so the clock stops with 1:31 left.
That was just an option route. You know, he could have either driven that route deep on a go, or he could come back on a comeback, and he set it down. And so now you look at Dungy. He's been able to perform very well in this first half, but these are the types of moments where you really win over a fan base. You win over your teammates. Under 2 minutes with the ball in your hand, what are you going to do?
Downfield again. And that hit the helmet of Irvin Phillips. Well, that means the throw is there.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, you know, wow. I mean, the anticipation on this throw here, he threw this football before the wide receiver came out of the break. That's why he didn't spot it. But if you're Phillips, you've just got to do a much better job. As you see, Dungy knows they missed on a big one. Those are the types of plays that get you chunk yardage, get you in field goal range, and give you an opportunity to put points on the board.
You know, the most famous helmet catch in the history of football was made by a Syracuse alum, David
Fair
Tyree.
enough. Yeah, I remember that. Rodney Harrison hates that for the Patriots.
There's Fredericks, his second catch of the game, changing directions, and then dropped. Lafayette Pitts on the stop.
And that's a freshman move. He's got to get out of bounds there. He's got to have the awareness to know where the situation is on the clock. He's got to get out of bounds.
Fredericks lined up in the slot, 1st and 10. The clock continues to run. Steve Ishmael pushed out of bounds by Maddox, a gain of 7. 2nd and 3. Clock stopped with a $1:11.
Yeah, just so impressed with this kid. They go empty formation, which means that there's not protection there for him in the back. So he's got wide receivers on the outside edges. Pittsburgh knows that, and Dungy still gets the ball out on time, out of his hand quick enough to pick up some good yardage on first down.
Dungy, #1 in the ACC in pass efficiency. Pitt's Nate Peterman, #2. High throw hauled in by Esteem, pushed out of bounds by Pitts. A gain of 7. It's a first down. Clock stops with 1:06.
That was a great grab there by Esteem. To get off the ground, get up in the air. You know, he knew he was exposing himself. You know, that's where you take those rib shots. But he knew that this is the time where the game's on the line. And these are the types of points when you look back at the course of a game and you say, you remember that 2-minute drive at the end of half that turned into points? This is where you win football games.
Downfield for Ishmael. He gets it over Maddox. Ishmael finally tripped up by Javonte Pitts, but it's a 40-yard gain and a Syracuse first down.
Yeah, this wasn't about the ball here. This was about the wide receiver making it happen. He catches it at his highest point. Nice job of body control and hauling that play in as they're back up to the line of scrimmage, really trying to press the gas on this Panthers defense.
First and goal from the 10. Clock starting to run again. Here's Phillips. He's tripped up at the 6. Second and goal. And Syracuse has called its final timeout with 38 seconds to go in the half. Dungy in the empty look. Dungy's going to try to run. Not much room. Got away from Galambos, but Bradley able to take him down. Third and goal for the Orange. The clock continuing to run and now stopped with 31 seconds to go.
I look for this to be a pass, and for Dungy, as you can see in an empty set, looks like he's going to put this one in the air.
Dungy to the air on the slant. Touchdown Syracuse. Steve Ishmael.
Yeah, this kid's for real. You know, 2 minutes. Team trusting you, depending on you. They put the ball in your hands on a crucial and critical third down. What do? You put the ball on the money to what looks like maybe one of his favorite targets today, number 8, Ishmael. He's gone to him a few times today in critical situation, and he's come through.
Ishmael, 5 catches, 67 yards. He had a career-high 97 receiving yards in the loss to Pittsburgh last year. It's one thing for Syracuse to go get a guy from Oswego. That's just up the road. Lake Oswego, Oregon, a different story.
Indeed.
That's Pitts. Pitts to the 40, and he stumbles to the 43.
Watch for Boyd here. He's at the top of your screen. That's the guy. Money ball for him during these types of situations.
Pitts got a timeout here. Peterman. He'll step up and run. He's got a first down and more. He's inside the 30. 13 yards on the play. Clock will momentarily stop with 12 seconds after the first down. And now it starts on the official signal. Peterman spikes it. 9 seconds to go in the first half. Pitt with a timeout. Panthers in this first half got a field goal on their first drive. Last week's hero, Chris Blewett, hit a 32-yarder. Pitt's lone touchdown was from Quandre Olison on the last drive. They had one drive that ended with a missed 50-yarder. All right, 9 seconds, 1 timeout. Remember, you can't spike the ball with 2 seconds or less. Peterman, downfield for Boyd, makes the catch in traffic. 4 seconds to go in the half. This becomes a much more manageable field goal for Blewett. You're looking at a 29-yarder instead of what looked to be about a 46-yarder. 1 for 2 today. Off the upright and in.
Doesn't get much closer than that. Wow.
So Pittsburgh gets 3 as we send you to halftime. Your score, it's Syracuse 17, the Panthers 13. Time now for the college football halftime report. Here's Brendan Fitzgerald in the studio. The true freshman quarterback for Syracuse, 15 out of 20, 139 yards, 2 TD passes in the first half, and the Orange lead Pittsburgh 17-13. And Ashraf, Ahmad Brooks, Dungy, the tone setter offensively. The more you watch him, what do you like?
Well, I like a number of things, but you're going to see a few plays here where you see him use his arm, use his feet, and use his brain. And the first one here is on the other side of the ball. He has a lot of help with the captain, number 45, Zaire Franklin, as this young man is balling. And he was the impact player for a reason. I'm so glad the officials overturned that call. But here's the real superstar in the story of the first half, Eric Dungey. Look at him, dodge 2 defenders, keep his eyes downfield, keep the play alive, goes for a first down. And how about the design quarterback runs here? You say he gets hit hard, you see him embrace that hit, and then finishing off a 2-minute drive with a touchdown. Those are big-time plays from a young player as he continues to develop right before our eyes and show us why this is the kind of kid you can build your program around.
For Pittsburgh, really, they were able to move the ball 226 yards of total offense in that first half. The same number that Syracuse had finishing drives. A little bit of an issue for the Panthers here on the road. Second half underway. Brisley is steaming his own end zone, and he will stay put. Fredericks spins across the 40 to the 42 for a gain of 3. We have an injury update for you. Syracuse defensive end Ron Thompson questionable to return with an upper body injury. Dungey looking for Ishmael. He's got Steve Ishmael. And Ishmael across midfield to the 45-yard line of Pitt. It's a first down and a pickup of 13.
Yeah, he's just to the boundary side in one-on-one coverage. And you see him here, nothing fancy. Just a nice job of sitting down his route behind the defensive back. And that's one of the hardest routes to cover as a DB because you're thinking go route, go route. The guy's already caught 2 balls on my head. I'm going deep. And then he drops his hips, sits down in a route, and picks up a first down. Very difficult route. Ishmael having himself a game today.
Fredericks up the middle. And he's to the 42-yard line. We're at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York. The Orange looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. Pitt looking to go to 4-0 in the ACC. Schroff, Ahmad Brooks. This rivalry dates back to 1916. And these two had some wars in the old Big East. 3rd year in the ACC for both programs and both at different points. Dungey over the middle. That's tipped and intercepted. Matt Golombos with his 2nd pick of the season.
But Dungey here dropping back, looking for a route over the middle, and that's ball's thrown in the wrong location. It was. Yeah, you would prefer to see that ball thrown outside. I'm not sure if this was an option route or not, but just not thrown in the right location. And you look at it. This is his only 2nd interception over the last 114 pass attempts. So when you see the disgust in this young man's face, that's the reason why. He's protected the football like a veteran all season long.
Tyler Boyd in the backfield this time. He's been all over. High snap. The give is to Boyd. Gets past Franklin. And he is out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
Yeah, Boyd just stretches you.
He's fun to watch,
He sure does. I mean, he stretches you both ways, horizontally with his ability to go deep, laterally with those jet sweeps. You know, just a fine player who, at this point, looks like he's a shoo-in to be playing on Sundays.
This is Peterman. He'll keep it. He's got a first down and more. And Peterman finally out of bounds. Forced out by Chauncey Sism after a gain of 14.
Yeah, he hadn't kept the ball much today, and this really caught the defense off guard. You see it here. I mean, just nobody expected Peterman to keep there. But Peterman's athletic enough to where when talking to this Pittsburgh staff, they said, look, we've got design runs in for him, but we understand that that's not his strength. So he can run the football, and we will use him like they did just now.
Still churning. Give him 3, 2nd and 7. Lafayette Pitts now with an interception against Syracuse in consecutive seasons. There's that screen to Boyd, gets a block from Challingsworth, and he's out of bounds. He's got a first down. Olesen right up the middle, and he gashes the defense for a gain of about 9.5, 2nd and short.
Such an aggressive style of running.
2nd and short. Forward in motion. Back on the ground, back to Olesen. And did he get enough on that initial push to get the first down? He's going to be a little short, so 3rd down coming up, and we'll have to wait until the 4th quarter for that play. Pat Narduzzi and this Pitt team have owned the 4th quarter, and they pull out a rally on the road again. The defining trait of Pat Narduzzi's team this season has been finishing games. This is their time, the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and it's the start of it, and they just started this since Narduzzi comes here. Entering the 4th quarter, they're jumping around, throwing water all over the place. I love it. I think it brings excitement and really gets you prepared for the fight that you're going to endure during the 4th quarter.
3rd and short to start the 4th. Olesen with a first down as he dives across the 20. Well, Pittsburgh's been great in the 4th quarter, but look at these numbers. Scott Schaefer's teams at Syracuse, when leading after 3 quarters, 13-1. Winless when trailing going into the 4th. In this case, Syracuse leads by 4.
It's a good numbers. You know, unfortunately for him, on the other side, his friend, they're 4-1 in close games that have been decided by single digits. So one of those streaks will end today.
Only lost by Pitt this season on the road to Iowa on a 57-yard field goal. Olesen running with purpose. He's inside the 5 all the way down to the 1-yard line. They may look at that to see if the ball crossed the plane.
Right up the gut, and he's gained the bulk of his yardage running in between the tackles. He's just a physical runner, and a good job there of trying to finish off the run.
Olesen stays in the game. He was short of that goal line. He'll get it again, and in for a touchdown. Pitt takes the lead. Now this kid seems to be getting stronger the deeper we go into this game.
I couldn't agree with you more, and in talking to the coaching staff, they made it very clear. He's the type of back that wears you down. And coming into the 4th quarter now, he can make you miss by making a move, because all game long he's been able to pound guys, get his pads out in front of him, and run through wimpy tacklers. You see it. The freshman with 2 big runs here wants to get him inside of the 5, and then the final one to punch it in and to get pay dirt as Pittsburgh takes the lead.
Well, Pitt is in the top 25 for the first time since 2009. A week from Tuesday, we find out what the initial college football playoff rankings look like. Scott Schaefer's team led just moments ago, now down by 3, about to get the football. 20-17 Pittsburgh, plenty of time to go. Syracuse will take it at the 25. Eric Dungy hands it off. Jordan Fredericks fighting for yards. And he's able to get 4 to set up 2nd and 6. You want to be careful about drawing conclusions and certainly jumping to them. Dungy was so good in that first half, 15 out of 20. In the second half, 2 interceptions, both after taking a big hit on the first play of the third quarter.
Yeah, he's got to put that behind him now, though, because they still have a chance to win this football game. You think about that when you're watching film during the week.
Nice catch there. And the flat by Irv Phillips. Syracuse able to move the chains as Phillips hauls it in. Dungy's previous 2 passes were picked off. Ishmael's had a big game lined up on Maddox, bottom of your screen. Dungy takes another big hit in the backfield. That was Bam Bradley.
Looks like he grabbed face mask here, but he grabs the back of the helmet. Very unique tackle there. As you can tell, Dungy's face mask wasn't quite clear when he came back out, and he's twisting that neck now, trying to make sure he's okay.
He's run the ball a lot the last couple of weeks, 35 carries against South Florida and Virginia. Not as much today. Underneath, that one complete. And the tight end, Josh Parrish, able to pick up 10. Third down for Syracuse now.
Nice run after the catch there by Parrish, which puts them in a more manageable situation on third down. Here's where Dungy can really hurt you. He can run the design quarterback run, but he also has proven that he's effective enough as a passer to connect on these types of plays.
There's that Army formation by Syracuse. There's the pressure from Pitt. Came from the middle. Phillips. I think he got a pretty good spot. He might have enough. And it's going to be a first down for Syracuse.
It's a Syracuse first down.
6 catches for Phillips. That's a new career high. He had 5 last week against Virginia. Option. Dungy will keep it. Across the 40. Still on his feet and out of bounds. Inside the 30 to the 27. A gain of 26.
Great play call there from offensive coordinator Tim Lester. Hadn't seen this today, and he comes with the speed option. Gets Dungy out in front. He makes a good decision to keep the football and a smart decision also to go out of bounds without taking a hit. But the down the field blocking was also what opened it up. The wide receivers finishing it off defensive backs downfield opened up the running lane for Dungy.
Hand off to Fredericks. And he's to the 25-yard line. Well, we saw what Dungy can do with his athleticism. Remember last week, that was Quinn Blanding he hurdled, an All-American safety, by the way.
Yeah, that was a fantastic move there. And talking to the coaching staff, they said, you can only do that, because he did it in high school, you can only do that if you score a touchdown. The first thing he said coming off the field to Schaefer, hey, coach, I scored.
And Tim Lester, his offensive coordinator, calls that when he does his Johnny stuff, referencing Johnny football. Dungy back to Ishmael, who drops it. Well, he's made a couple of high degree of difficulty catches, but unable to hold on to that one.
Yeah, those are those simple plays that turn into difficult plays sometimes, because you just think, I've got this. I'm going to catch this football because it's thrown in my breadbasket. And that time there, took his eyes off the football, and a big drop there.
Morris in the backfield on 3rd and 7. Pittsburgh brings pressure. Dungy over the middle to his tight end, Paris. A little short of that first down marker, so it's 4th down from the 20. And let's see what Syracuse does. They'll bring on the kicking team, Cole Murphy. We'll try to tie this game at 20. Riley Dixon to hold. 37-yard attempt for the tie. The kick is good. It's a brand new ball game with 9:20 to go in regulation. We're tied at 20 at the Carrier Dome. Pittsburgh looking to stay undefeated in the ACC. Syracuse looking to snap a 3-game losing streak and get its second conference win. Scott Schaefer and Pat Narduzzi have a long and shared history. Philosophically very similar on the defensive side. They've learned from each other. They've worked with each other. Now on opposing sidelines. That one hits Pitts. He's tripped up shy of the 15. Peterman goes for Dontez Ford, who makes the catch for a first down. Well, Ford has had his breakout game of the season, 4 catches, 78 yards.
Yeah, and that time they run another corner route, a 7 route. They've run this a few times today. They connected on a big one there for Boyd. This time it's Ford. It was a good route, and when you catch them in zone, there's a window right there that Peterman has been able to connect on several times today.
A little breathing room now for the Panthers. Peterman 18 out of 23 passing. Chris James for a short game. Play action, that's caught by the tight end. Scott Orndorff with a big gain. So a lot of attention on Tyler Boyd and some of the other players able to take advantage.
Yeah, and they just ran the tight end right into the space that Boyd had just vacated. And usually that means when you've got double coverage over the top, that's a soft spot in zone. The Panthers found it on that play for another first down.
They'll give it to Boyd on the end around. And Boyd out of bounds at the 46-yard line. This will bring up 2nd and 9. Good job there by number 20 for Syracuse, Cordell Hudson, to get off that block from Jamar Parrish.
Absolutely it was.
Boyd back in the backfield. Peterman on the read option. And he's taken down at the 48. 3rd down. Caton Samuels on the stop.
And Ron Thompson just entered the ball game. Standout defensive end there.
Thompson 13 in blue. There's the pressure. Peterman over the middle. Intercepted. No, batted down. Almost picked off by Cordy. Peterman tried to make a dangerous throw.
Yeah, this is a fine job of not giving up on the play. He went with 2 hands, and that right hand just rakes the football out. They call him giant for a reason, because they say this kid does not play anywhere near his stature. You talk about a big 3rd down PBU, a pass breakup. That was awesome coverage there on one of the top wide receivers in the nation.
Fake punt. Winslow throws it for a first down to Columbus, the linebacker. He pulled a Riley Dixon. So Pat Narduzzi dips into the bag of tricks with less than 5 minutes to go on the road in a tie game.
That play was a backbreaker. Oh, my goodness. You see here, they've got the numbers. He probably could have ran here, but soon as the player commits to come tackle him, they built it in where he had an option there to pass. Gutsy play there by Narduzzi that pays off for the Panthers.
High snap. James to the 41, a gain of 5. Let's go back to the punt. The fake punt.
And this is why they've been able to win games, close games at the end of ball games. Just a timely call from the coaches. The play works to perfection. Execution on the punt team was fantastic. Ends up moving the chains.
If we were to have said before the game we'd see a fake punt in this game, given what we've seen all season, you would have thought, all right, Riley Dixon's going to do something, but it's Winslow, and what a play call by Narduzzi.
Surprise, surprise.
This time they run it to the up back. And that's James. Tyler Boyd was lined up as the deep back.
Yeah, and emotionally, if you're this Syracuse defense, you're thinking, wow, we just get off the field, we do enough, and now we're back on for sudden change. At this point in the ball game, they're winded. And so now is where you really have to focus on that side of the ball. On a 3rd and short situation, these are situations where Syracuse likes to blitz.
Out of the goal line set, here's Olesen, and he rumbles ahead for a Pittsburgh first down. Well, this is a little bit of deja vu for Syracuse last week. Virginia put together a late 19-play drive that was aided by a face mask penalty to send the game into overtime. UVA would win in triple OT. 13th play of the drive coming up for Pittsburgh. They started at the 5. Olesen up the gut. And he's close to the 20-yard line. Quandre Olesen, a couple of rushing touchdowns today. 83 yards on the ground. Now they've seen this movie before.
Yeah, and I'm sure there are plenty of people sitting at home with the same look on their faces. And to your point with Olesen, I mean, this young kid has really shown today why he can be the workhorse for a team like this. You know, I know Pitt fans just disrupt it when you hear the news James Conner's down, but you're getting a chance to see a young back, I think, take on a load and show that he can handle more responsibilities.
They'll feed Olesen again. And this is straight power football, folks.
All it is.
Third down coming up. We've got a timeout by Syracuse. Ade Schroff, Ahmad Brooks, boy, Pittsburgh in the 4th quarter. That's what has defined their season so far. We're seeing it again today.
You don't pull out these types of victories unless you have extreme team belief, and we talked about it early on off the top of the show. But that is what Narduzzi has brought from Michigan State. The ability for his players to believe in the game plan, with the game on the line, to trust coaching, to trust their situational football. And it has really paid off for Pitt this season.
I'm sure Glenn Ross was recommended off-season viewing. Coffee is for closers. Olesen up the middle. He appears to have a first down for Pittsburgh. So the Panthers move the chains. And for Syracuse, they seem to be in control of this game for almost the entire first half. And then really things changed when Dungy took a big hit on the very first play of the 3rd quarter, left the game, went to the locker room. He came back in. He just hasn't been the same.
Yeah, and then it led to 2 consecutive interceptions, and the second one led to points. So, you know, whether he was shook up or not, whatever happened, this team lost a little bit of confidence.
Olesen's 8th carry of the drive, and he's been in beast mode down the stretch as he takes it inside the 15. All right, Ahmad. You were a defensive back in this situation without any timeouts. Strip the ball. What are the coaches telling you?
Well, they're telling you to hold up the ball carrier, and the second guy there is responsible for coming in and trying to rake the football out. And you say, well, why would you do that? Well, you're trying to get the football back, and obviously you know they're going to run the ball. So, yeah, it's definitely a point of emphasis, and I'm sure the coaching staff had those conversations with their players before they headed back on the field.
A 17-play drive.
Wow.
For Pittsburgh. This
Impressive.
will be play 17. Olesen off tackle. Not much room. Simmons on the stop, 3rd down, and Pittsburgh will continue to let the clock run. The Panthers have all 3 timeouts.
How big was that fake punt?
That was the ball game.
No doubt
was the
about
ball
it.
game.
Wow.
Yep.
Special play. Big time call from first-year head coach Pat Narduzzi.
If Pitt scores here, they may look back at that fake punt as one of the defining moments
Indeed.
of this season. Olesen up the middle. He's got a 1st down for Pittsburgh. That's really irrelevant at this point. Clock at 8 seconds continues to tick. Pitt's going to take a timeout and set up a field goal. Timeout, Pittsburgh. Chris Blewett will try to be the hero for a 2nd straight week. Last week against Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh kicker Chris Blewett drilled a 56-yarder late in the 4th quarter. That was the difference in Atlanta. Blewett on for a 24-yarder to send Pittsburgh to 4-0 in the ACC. And Pittsburgh is 4-0 in the ACC. Blewett the hero once again.
Typical Pittsburgh football. Narduzzi, what can you say about the job that he's doing with this bunch and having them believe when the game's on the line? Fine football game here today, though.
2 longtime friends, rivals today. Share an embrace. Pittsburgh has matched its win total from a season ago. And 2 weeks in a row, it's the kicker Blewett who comes through in the clutch. Pat Narduzzi has Pittsburgh rolling. The Panthers are 6-1. They're in the driver's seat in the ACC Coastal, and Pitt only has to go on the road 1 more time all season. 4 losses in a row for the Orange. To the studio now, and Brendan.